I'll start. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
You rolling? Hey everybody, I'm Matt with Mike's Bikes, here with Tom from the MCBC.
How's it going?
And we are really excited about the Adventure Revival coming up, and we're two of the evil geniuses behind this route, and wanted to give a little overview so you know what to expect going in. So here we are in Fairfax, right behind White Hill Middle School, where the ride's going to start. It's going to head right out behind us, and we've front-loaded a lot of the technical terrain into the first part of the ride, just so you're a little fresher and able to handle it. But the first 15 miles are pretty challenging. You're going to start heading up on some nice fire roads and head underneath Brown Bridge to a trail called Porcupine, which is pretty long and steep, but it's a fun single track climb. Winds up, has some amazing views, back to the east and out to the west. You can hook up with a fire road up behind Tamarancho and climb up the ridge all the way up to San Geronimo Ridge. The last about 200 meters is a pretty steep, really rocky rock garden, which is going to be sponsored by one of our sponsors, Touchstone. We're going to call it the Touchstone Wall. And it's pretty challenging, and they're going to have some people out there handing out prizes if you're able to ride that last little section without dabbing. So it'll be kind of your fun first challenge of the day. And that gets you all the way up to San Geronimo Ridge. And then we're going to head west, and tell us about it.
Yeah, so the middle section there, we've gotten some of the challenging segments out of the way. We're on some flowy rolling hills with some rocky sections, but pretty fun area. Again, amazing views up on the San Geronimo Ridge, looking down towards Kent Lake and into the San Geronimo Valley. Then we head into the woods and drop down into some new trails in the Giacomini Open Space Preserve, and that's going to be really fun. A couple of steep sections, but generally a nice contour, flowy trails that will eventually get us down into the San Geronimo Valley, where we'll be on the road for a short bit, and then we hop on the Cross Marin Trail, which is a premier riding facility through Samuel P. Taylor Park. It's many miles long, it's flat, it's really nice, and follows a creek.
It'll give you a chance to recover after the initial challenges.
Yeah, nice recovery after that climbing. Then we'll hit the Jewel Trail, which will take us up to Bolinas Ridge, which is a real big feature of the ride, and one of the areas where some of the early mountain bike pioneers initially rode some of their road bikes with the knobby tires on that segment of trail. When you get to Bolinas Ridge, we're all going to go out to the trailhead where we'll have a really great rest stop and a really great place to relax. And at that point in the ride, the medium riders are going to turn back south on Bolinas Ridge and basically just follow that south to Bolinas Fairfax Road through first rolling green hills and then through some wooded areas. And it's going to be a real fun segment of the trail, or the route.
So from that route split, the spicy route is going to continue just over the hill and drop into Alima on Sir Francis Drake, and there we're going to turn left onto Highway 1, and even though it's road, it's one of the most beautiful segments of pavement we have here in the county. So we're going to roll for a few miles south on Highway 1 to Five Brook Stables, where we're going to cut in and hop onto a trail called the Alima Valley Trail, which is actually unknown to a lot of even local people, that there's a legal single track trail that parallels Highway 1. It's got a pretty good steep climb in the middle, and then it kind of rolls along, and it's going to drop us back out on Highway 1 right across the road from Randall. You have to cross Highway 1, obviously be careful. And then we hit another one of the premier climbs on the ride, the Randall climb, which is just a beautiful fire road in the forest, smooth, steep and challenging, but you can get into a good rhythm, and it's nice and shaded and cool. So it brings you all the way up to the top of Bow Ridge, where you join back in with the medium route, and then you have kind of the second upper half of Bolinas Ridge left to do, which rolls along. And the cool part about Bolinas Ridge is you've got all these different kinds of landscapes. You start out in kind of open cow pasture, and you end up in different kinds of forests, and then open chaparral and some rocky stuff, and then back into deep, fun redwood forest. And that's going to roll all the way to the top of Bolinas Fairfax Road, where we'll have another great rest stop, and that's kind of the end of the really challenging parts of the ride, and you pretty much get to go home from there. How do we get home?
So from there, we'll actually ride a pretty classic Marin road route, which is the Alpine Dam route. We'll take Bolinas Fairfax Road down to the dam, which coincidentally it's its 100th anniversary this month in September, and then it's a gradual climb back up to what's called Azalea Hill, where we're working on a trail project there. And then we drop down and we'll do a last little spurt of dirt into the watershed on Concrete Pipe and Deer Park fire roads down to the Deer Park.
All flat
area.
or downhill, no more climbing.
Yeah, all downhill at that point, and then we just roll down into town and back to the pavilion, where we'll have a real fun party waiting for everybody.
Awesome. We invite you to join our Strava club. If you're on Strava, where we're going to talk there about some of the featured segments that we're going to kind of highlight throughout the ride that show off the variety. But let's now move to equipment, because with gravel, one of the fun parts is deciding what's the best bike, tires, all that stuff. So we've brought two great examples of appropriate bikes from our fabulous bike sponsor, Santa Cruz. We have their Stigmata gravel bike and their Highball hardtail. So Tom, what bike are you thinking of riding?
Matt and I actually pre-rode the course. I was on a gravel bike and Matt was on a hardtail, and we kept up with each other just fine on these two rides. I'm going to stick with the gravel bike, but given that we do have rocks and some pretty big roots in areas, I'm going to be rolling with bigger tires with knobs. I like the WTB, one of our sponsors. Their Resolutes are 42 millimeters, and that's a perfect tire for this route if you're on 700 C wheels. If you have 650s, I would recommend those with some 40 to 50 millimeter tires. I think would be a good choice. And on the gravel bike, I am going to have my gearing set for climbing.
Yeah, definitely. I'm a big fan of the easiest gears you can do and the fattest tires you can, especially on a route like this. There's not a lot of opportunity where you're going to want something kind of really smooth and fast. You mostly want to handle the technical stuff, which is why I'm going to do a hardtail. For me, it's just going to optimize the ride a bit more towards fun. Might be slower in some sections, but I think it's just going to be a more enjoyable day. One thing I have done is beefed up the front chain ring from a traditional mountain bike smaller ring to a bigger 38 tooth, just to allow me to keep up with the drop bar guys on kind of the flat sections or downhill when you have to pedal. So either case, it's great on a mountain bike as long as it's nice and light for all the climbing. It's obviously going to be great on a gravel bike. I would say kind of minimum tire width you're going to want is probably 40. You get much less than that and you're going to have a pretty challenging day. So yeah, make it fun.
Yeah, look forward to riding with you.
Cool. Thanks, guys.